The Iowa Hawkeyes adding a receiver out of the transfer portal. That is welcome news for this program. Of course, adding a quarterback and a tight end already. 3 skill position players added via the transfer portal, and they need more. We'll talk about the addition of Seth Anderson, what he means to this group in a moment. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Iowa Floor Covering, and their Tough Core Click Together 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring that's available via self-installation at just $269 per foot. Visit iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. Tyler and the guys down in Bondurant doing great stuff for flooring needs across the state. Visit them in Bondurant or visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. So Seth Anderson announcing his commitment to the Iowa Hawkeyes over the weekend, a big one. Iowa certainly was in on Seth Anderson hard, along with fellow transfer Isaac Tesla, a guy that they're still recruiting, although he's got a number of offers available to him. But Anderson was certainly top 2 on the list as it relates to wide receiver talent. He's got great pedigree, great family blood, family ties to the game. And of course, Willie Flipper Anderson, his father, has the all-time record for receiving a game in the NFL. Yes, 336 yards. I believe that record was set back in 1989, I believe. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. Rams-Saints game, if I'm not mistaken. But his dad was a terrific NFL wide receiver. Seth's brother, Drez, played for Utah, was a spectacular Utah wide receiver, had over 2,000 receiving yards on his career, suffered a knee injury late in his career, which hurt his chances at playing in the NFL. Played a little bit, I think, professionally, but not in the NFL. And then his uncle, Seth's uncle, also played briefly in the league. So great ties here to the league. And if you look at Seth Anderson on tape at Charleston, he's probably, if you compare him, and I understand it's apples to oranges, you're comparing tape at the Big South FCS level to Big Ten football where Seth's heading. But you look at Seth on tape, he's probably as good of a route runner as Iowa has had under Kelton Copeland. And I don't think that's exaggerating at all. I think Charlie Jones would be right there as well. Maybe certainly an underrated route runner at Iowa. But Seth Anderson is right there. And athletically, he's as good of a receiver as Iowa's had under Kelton Copeland. I know Brandon Smith, really good athlete. I'm not going to say he's better than Brandon Smith athletically. Brandon Smith was an exceptional athlete, as was Amir Smith-Marset, Keegan Johnson, those guys, Arlen Bruce, good athletes. But Seth Anderson has got a different gear. He stands about 6'1". He's going to give you the ability to not only go up and make a catch over a defender, but also take the top off a defense. And that is what Iowa needs, right? They've got some bigger guys coming in. I mean, Dayton Howard out of Kansas City, who's going to be a freshman this next year, is like 6'5". All right. Jacob Bostic's a 6'2", 6'3" receiver. They've got size. Brody Brecht's a big kid. So Seth Anderson's a guy they need, and they land. Seth Anderson, other reported offers, including Georgia Tech. On3.com, Blair Sanderson, his crew there at HawkeyeReport.com, they just made the move over to On3. He reported a Kansas offer for Seth as well. I had been told that Seth was planning on visiting Kansas. That never happened. Did not know if he had been offered officially by Kansas, but according to Blair Sanderson, yes, he turns down an offer from Kansas. Again, Georgia Tech, Kansas, Iowa, the Power 5 offers there. Appalachian State was high on Seth's list. James Madison, a very good program that recently moved to the FBS. Middle Tennessee, Georgia State, Miami, Ohio, Marshall, Kent State, South Alabama, Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Jacksonville State, Temple, Arkansas State, Charlotte, Texas State. So a number of FBS offers, 3 Power 5 offers, and Georgia Tech made a good impression on Seth. And keep in mind, he's a Georgia kid. He's playing college football down in Georgia, played high school football down at North Gwinnett in the Atlanta area. So there's no reason to think that he couldn't have went to Georgia Tech. Now, they are dealing with some coaching changes. Their wide receiver coach is new, and they've dealt with some quarterback overhaul as well. Jeff Sims moving on to Nebraska. So he picks Iowa. He's going to give you athleticism, really good route running, tremendous heritage as it relates to college football and the NFL. And this kid could be a real steal. I mean, I really like Seth Anderson. Like I said, for the reasons I just outlined. You look at his numbers for the season. Seth, for the season at Charleston Southern, totaled 612 yards, 7 touchdown catches, along of 48 on 42 receptions, an average per catch of 14.6. That's a real good number for Seth Anderson. Redshirt freshman this year, played in 3 games last year, according to his bio, just 1 reception, but really emerged this year. As far as why he wasn't more highly recruited out of high school, that's a little odd to me. I know he didn't put up insane numbers in high school, 32 catches, 433 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I guess you could say maybe a late bloomer. I find that a little odd given the pedigree with his family, but certainly he got on to a Division I school in Charleston Southern and made the most of it. I will say this, he played with some exceptional athletes at North Gwinnett. I mean, we're talking Barrett Carter, who is a 5-star linebacker who is now at Clemson, Jordan Hancock, 4-star now at Ohio State, and then Jason Gilliam, a guy who's a Power 5 player. I think he's down at Kansas now, if I read that correctly. So he played with some really good, played at a good level at North Gwinnett. 2 years at Charleston Southern, makes the jump, and this is going to be a good one, folks. This is what Iowa needed. Iowa needed receiver talent. They still need receiver talent. They're still pushing for Isaac Teslaw. I don't have a great feeling about that recruitment just because of the plethora of offers that Teslaw has brought in. And you wonder, too, with Anderson committing, does that help or hurt Iowa's chances? I guess I don't have a read on that. By the way, to also put his 2022 season in perspective, Seth Anderson was named the offensive freshman of the year in the conference. His Twitter bio says that he was the offensive player of the year. That's not the case. Bailey Fisher, Gardner-Webb quarterback, won that award. But Charleston Southern wide receiver Seth Anderson was the offensive freshman of the year, according to the Big South Sports website. He was also named Big South Freshman of the Week a couple times during the season. And he was a Jerry Rice Freshman of the Year finalist. Really prestigious FCS wide receiver award. Great grab for Iowa. And now we move our attention to guys like Isaac Teslaw. Is there a chance they could still reel him in? They got him on campus early, which is good news. Other schools have not been as successful getting him to visit yet. But, he's got a ton of options out there. He is a fast rising prospect. But McNamara, all Anderson, great foundation for that offense next year. I still have questions about the offense as it relates to coaching, but congratulations to Seth, his father Willie, his brother Drez, and that entire Anderson football family. And they are a family of great athletes. And by the way, I believe his mom was a really good Division I athlete as well. Appreciate you tuning in for another episode, another segment here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. Tell me what you think about Seth Anderson and his commitment. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll be back with you soon.